Hey there, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Hello there, crypto friends. How we doing out there? It is Sunday, August 22nd. Will this be the next sell-off Sunday? Stay tuned. Let's have a look. What you see here is no, BTC is not in jail behind green bars. These green bars represent each Sunday over the last, couple of months. And what I wanted to show is sell-off Sunday. And so basically you have here, let's go all the way back to, this is June the 13th. Sunday, sold off. Sunday, sold off. Sunday, sell down. Sunday, sell down. Sunday, sell down. Sell down, then bounce, etc., etc. So just keep that in mind. We don't know the reason why particularly, but it does happen out there. So let's move on and have a look at the charts. We'll start out here with BTC/USD. As the chart loads up, we will switch back to the 4-hour and see our new trading plan is in place here. So there you go. We are in sideways consolidation, very healthy up here. So basically what that means is the buyers and sellers are basically agreeing on price at the moment. So we would anticipate an explosion. It happens to be Sunday. I look for it to come down to the downside, which would be, for me, a buying opportunity. And I'll quickly explain. I think we have some new folks out there, so I'll go over a few things for you. By the way, over there in the chat, there's a link to a tutorial that explains all the indicators and all the features I use here on TradingView to chart daily price. So we have up here, this thin red line is a 12-day moving average. The blue line is a 26-day moving average. And then it switches over to the dot pattern here. You have the 50-day, the 100, and a 200-day moving average. So basically these are usually price pivot points. It'll come down, you see right here, we'll back up just a little bit. Didn't want to move that for some reason. There we go. You see we came right down, bounced right off that 12-day moving average and took off. And so I've been back testing this for about 4 years. And this 5 EMA indicator is proprietary. I've been developing that. Also working on the price pivots. So these pivots and support and resistance will be automatically coming to you pretty soon, getting pretty close. Without that commercial, let's have a look at what we do every day. We are looking at support for BTC/USD 48,588.56 and resistance up at the 49,161.24. So what that means is if you're thinking about buying this or trading this, you expect support to hold, so that would be your entry. And you would anticipate once we get up to resistance, which is based on these previous highs, this is where people sold. So that gives you an indication that that's pretty likely going to happen again. So if you're trading in between that range, you try to find somewhere down there near support for your entry. And then you look for on the climb up, as you get just approached to that resistance, would be your sell target for exit. And then you put your stop loss just below your support level. In this case, we would put it right down on these red candles here. You see 1, 2 as a double bottom. That would be your next support level should you fall through that. So you put a stop. That way you minimize your loss in the event that we do have a correction. And let's move on to Ethereum, ETH, USD. I'll try to explain stuff along the way. All right, so tight range here as well. So we have support at the 3215.24 and 3277.15 resistance. We'll zoom in. Thank you for reminding me out there. I do that every time. So as you can see, we are riding right along this 12-day and the 26-day moving average, kind of bouncing around in between. And sell off Sunday would mean that we would lose that support, fall down to this 50-day moving average. And then we would look for previous support levels, previous lows, the wicks of these candles on the low side, as we either pull back or we could explode to the top. These consolidation usually leads to an explosion one way or the other, so you just want to make sure you're ready for that direction. A couple other things to watch out for. Volume is starting to dry up. As you can see, this yellow line down here indicates the average volume. That's the amount of tokens or coins traded per day is your volume. So you see there that we are on the light side of trading. And let's move on to Cardano. As I did mention in the, let's see if I've got it here. We'll have to switch to the daily real quick. We are watching, I've got this big green vertical line drawn here. This is Cardano's smart contract launch. That is September 12th. They are on schedule, according to Charles Hopkinson, ever how you say his last name. Sorry, Charles, for butchering that all to pieces. But he indicated last night on his YouTube channel that they are on schedule and anticipate to launch that. So one would anticipate, and Cardano goes to the smart contracts, means that it's going to be a better competitor to Ethereum. So there will be NFTs, there will be all those things built on top of the Cardano blockchain. So with lesser or no, well, I don't think there's hardly any fees whatsoever. So you see here, as I indicated, we did hit an all-time high, pulled right back. We've hit it a couple of times. So let's see if 3 times the charm. Let's zoom back in here. So we're looking now up at the 2.557. That's going to be your support level. And resistance now up there at the 2.630. And looking at volume, let's pull back to the 4-hour. There we go. Looking at the volume levels, it's starting to lighten up just a little underneath the average. So moving on to the Doge, DOGE, USD. Doge is down 0.311%. And we are looking at support at the 0.3119, resistance at 0.3218. So you can see there's a wick of that red candle was your support previously. And we did actually, I had to previously chart that. So let's move that. We'll correct that. So we lost that support level. Now we're going to be looking all the way down to the 0.2977 support for Doge. And do anticipate it to hold this 50-day moving average. You can see that orange dot right there. That should give us the support as we come down to retest there, potentially for a bounce. Meanwhile, up at resistance, we have the 0.3218. And you see this green wick of this candle is where we got that number. And basically what that's saying is we would anticipate as we bounce back up to that previous high that some folks are going to exit their trade. So let's move on to PolkaDot, DOT, As you see right now, that's why I wanted to come on early. We were starting to show signs of weakness. I wanted to jump in here and have people ready for the sell-off Sunday. So let's see, where are we going to bounce? We're going to look at support now at the 26.1948. So that's your bogey for coming on down. Should we lose this, you could barely see it, but this blue line there is a 26-day moving average. Would anticipate a bounce on the first attempt. And resistance remains up there at the 28.267. That's $28.26. Rounded up to 28 cents. Let's have a look at BNB. That's Binance Coin. BNB, we're looking at 444.1644. That's a lot of fours. Support and resistance up there at the 456.07. And by the way, I should have mentioned for you newcomers, this dotted line, which is red at the moment, is the current price. So that will turn green if this candle is on the moving towards the upside on price. Red if it's moving down to the sell side. So currently, you see we have a red candle, and the current price, which is 446.711, is red for the day. Let's move on to Solana, SOL-USD. Solana, tight range, extremely tight range. As you can see, I do have timers set on both, or alerts, I should say, on both the resistance and support. I'm trying to add to my position, so I'm buying on the dips, and I may take a portion of profit on the to the upside, but basically I'm accumulating, so unless something really nutty happens, I'm going to just let it ride. And meanwhile, we're looking at support at 72.7124 and resistance up there at the 77.636. RSI, which is this indicator here, relative strength index, dead center. Volume is kind of tapering off, so we'll be keeping an eye on volume. Moving on to LTC USD. Litecoin. Litecoin's up 1.52%. And you see here, when I previously charted this, we were sitting right on top of support as we speak. So we're looking at support to hold at the 182.41. And we're going to need to bring our resistance level down to this previous high right there on that candle. So previous high of 184.39 is now your resistance. So very tight range in here. And I would mention here the volume is increasing. We're just about to get above average here on Litecoin. Moving on to Ethereum Classic. That's ETHD. ETHC.USD. And Ethereum Classic, we fell through our support right when I charted this just a few minutes ago. There we go. So now we have support at the 65.860. Should we lose that, we are sitting right on that 50-day moving average. We may need to come down to that 100. And as you can see, last time we hit that 100-day moving average, we were in for a mighty good bounce. So I would be pouncing all over that. This is not financial advice. But should we get down to that 100-day moving average around that 63.260, could possibly be a good entry. I would go small in size because it is sell-off Sunday. So we're looking at resistance up at the 68.669. Support, if I didn't mention that, 65.860. Let's move on to MATIC, MATIC, USD. You may know it as Polygon. So we're looking at support to hold at the 1.5741. Resistance up there at the 1.6399. Everything in good shape. Polygon looking really strong up here. Very healthy consolidation. You could just see we're just kind of bouncing in between that range of support and resistance. Usually indicates accumulation, especially when you have low volume like that. Let's move on to XLM USD. That's Stellar. Stellar been holding this support line for quite some time. Let's see, all the way back to August the 21st. So we're looking at support at the 0.36836, resistance up there at the 0.3804. Moving on to Vechain, the V of chains. VET-USD is the ticker for Vechain. Starting to punch through some of these support levels. So now we're looking here on the 50-day moving average, 0.1250 support. And resistance there at the 0.1307. Volume is starting to increase. It was very low overnight here in the United States as we go on to FIL-USD. Filecoin losing its support level. Well, let's jump on down there and grab the wrong thing. Let's get the support line. We'll go down here to that previous low, just above that 50-day moving average. I would anticipate it's going to hit right on this 26-day moving average, which coincides with that low. So we're looking at 73.122 support. And still got that resistance level. We had 1, 2, 3, almost 4 goes at it. Couldn't get through there at the 79.123. So pretty strong resistance there for FIL. Let's move on into the crypto small cap. So what is a cap, you say? We're talking about market cap. Market cap is the dollar amount of money out there in a particular coin. So it's the number of coins multiplied times the current price, which gives that value. So these are some of the smaller ones. We had the top 50. We're moving now into some of the smaller market cap. IOTA, Internet of Things, IOTA USD. And we are managing to hang on to, in case we don't. Yep, looks like we're gonna come down and retest this 12-day. So we're gonna put support down at the 1.0835 as we leak off as we stream this live for you. And look it up at resistance 1.150 for IOTA. Let's have a look at that basic attention coin, BAT/USD. Fell through that support level, so now we're going to look down and to our left, and that is the history to our left side there. So we're looking at 0.7707 support should we fall through the 12 and the 26. So we got those two moving averages for support should we need to get down in that range. And that means we'll have resistance here right there at the 0.8048. As you can see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts, finally got through, panic pantsed, sold it right back down as those weak hands folded like a lawn chair. Almost got that out there. I mean, I was going for that too. 0.8048 is your resistance level as we move on. Actually, we're going to be optimistic and put it right up there at the 0.8258. Let's move on to NMR USD. And we are looking at, still holding that support level I had charted this morning, 42.6887. And we have resistance coming. We'll have to deal with this one now. So we're going to have to get through this previous high. You see it right over here. It's the top of the wick of that candle and the body of that candle. 43.726 is that resistance level. Let's see if we can bust through there because we are ascending on the way up through. And let's move on to STORJ. Jump right down and look. I will take this minute to show you what is this big orange thing, you say. Okay, we'll zoom out a little bit so I can explain it. This is the Fibonacci retracement, which is based off the Fibonacci rule, and it breaks it down, in simplicity for us in percentages. So what usually happens is you go up to the top, and this is a pivot point, top pivot, and you retrace right back down to 50% of the up move from bottom to top. So let's zoom in now, and I'll show you a perfect example. So we went up, got to the apex, back down, and look at here. We are right on that 0.50. So we, as technical traders, we would say there's our support level. We're going to retrace to the 50, and then continuation should ensue. But this is sell-off Sunday, so we'll have to be on our toes. So that support level is 1.274. And now we're going to look down here at resistance coming back through at 1.307. I would mention, once again, this is another commercial. Over there in the chat, there is a short tutorial about all these indicators and also how I set up these. As you can see it here, let me zoom out so you can see the full thing. There goes an alert. So you see I have buy, evaluate, sell. These are all based on Fibonacci rules. So should we pull all the way back down to this sell buy range, this is where you would make an entry, come on up, and usually it's going to pause about right there. And that's where you evaluate. Sometimes it will not make it through. Sometimes it will, and then that's your sell target right there. So that's how that works. Let's move on. NUUSD. And just like some of the others here, we are starting to leak off into Sunday. So we're going to be looking down at support should we not maintain this 50-day moving average. Support's going to be at the 0.2869. And resistance going to be coming back through. We did get a previous high way over here to the left, so we're looking at resistance 0.2954. So very tight range. What does that tell you? Statistically, the probability it could go either way. So that tells you if you do want to trade this, very small dollar amounts. Okay. Moving on. Let's have a look at some of these DeFi tokens. We'll start out here with Uniswap USD. So we're going to have to readjust that. Looks like we fell through. Where are we? Green support at. Let's see. We'll split this candle up. So we got the 1 hour time frame in that big red candle and see if we can't get you a support level out of that thing. There it is. So there's your support level at 27.523. Switching back to the 4 hour for resistance. And we have resistance now at the 27.023. And as I mentioned earlier, you see all these indicators. These are all Pine script written by myself. And basically they're 5 moving averages, but you only get 1 strike for your indicator. So if you're on TradingView, the free version, you're limited to 5 indicators. Well, you got 5 in 1 here. And then I'm going to have the pivots, and then these rectangles will dynamically populate too. I'm almost there with it. So I just got some more testing before we launch into there. Moving on to commercial is over. LINK that's Chainlink. It's down 2.25%. Rounding top. So be careful here. And we're going to be looking at resistance up there at the 28.570 and kind of dip just below that 50-day moving average. So a little sign of weakness here for Chainlink. So watch out for the 27.180. And we may need to come all the way down to the 100-day moving average, as we see we did last time. Overshot it just a little bit, but nice bounce in there. So it'll be an entry right in there for Chainlink. Moving on to Aave, AAVE USD, it's down 2.14%. And we looking at support first at the 391.015 and resistance. Should I grab it? There we go. Right there at the $400. Always watch out for these round psychological numbers here. Very significant for both support and resistance. So resistance is more difficult to get through. So folks have a tendency to be skittish trying to buy it past that $400. So the $399, yeah, I'll buy it, but $400 or no way. That's usually the mentality. Keep that in mind. It works out, and this is all psychological, right? So enough of that said. Let's move on to GRT. That's the graph token. GRT USD. This one's coming at you from Coinbase. So new resistance level right there at the 0.9899. So I'd say the $1. Watch for the $1 mark. Should we break there, through there, we're on the go. And we're looking at support to hold at the 0.96380. And then you got the 50-day moving average just beneath you there to lean on should you need it. Head over to comp, CONP USD. It's down only 1%. So comp not bleeding off as much as some of the others today. We're looking at support at the 455.173. And resistance now at the 469.479. On to MKR USD. Bear with me, we're almost done. We are looking at 3695.498. And resistance is going to be 3785.729. On to Mana, MANA USDC. Down 2%, so that's about the par for course for today on Sell-Off Sunday. How you like that? Echo. We are looking at support 0.8402 and resistance 0.8678. Volume starting to come back through here and try to poke down and hit that 50-day moving average. So it looks like you see the response last time, bouncing around, boom, goes the dynamite. Off you go. So resistance at the 0.8678. Watch that 50-day moving average. So let's look at some NFTs. We'll start out here with Theta. That's THETA USD. And all that work this morning prepping, not a problem here. So we're looking at 7.094 support and resistance. Very close by at the 0.72339. So lots of traffic, as you kind of see. We're kind of just bouncing right in this range, right down the middle here. On to CHZ USD. So we're looking at support now at the 0.3658 and resistance at the 0.3783. Let's move on to audio. AUDIO USD Audius. And it's down 4.16%. Very tight range here, as folks can't figure out which direction we're going to go. Audio partnered with TikTok and Solana for the musical rights to all the videos on TikTok. I thought it was pretty big. We're getting, there's my alert as we speak. So we're looking at support 2.643, resistance 2.8803. On to ENJB USD. Slight adjustment of this support level here for you. And we're going to we can split this, see if I can guess right there in this. We'll have to go the 1 hour to find that red candle. See how close I was there. There it is. 1.7235 is support level. And now let's bring that resistance down because we've got some work to do coming back through the previous price. We had us a sales, a double top here, 1, 2. So that resistance level is 1.7833. Then you're looking up here at the previous close at the 1.84. So heading on over to ONE. That's Harmony One. It is up 6.23%. So we're excited to see this thing finally move, as it was dormant for quite some time. We're going to look at support at the 0.1144 and resistance very close by at the 0.1171. And on the relative strength indicator, you can see here when it gets above 70, when this little mountain goes above there, that's called overbought, which means that it's going to typically move down after in this region here, and you can see that's how it did respond. So that's why we use this RSI indicator. We know it's going to sell right up in here, and then when it gets below the 30, that's called overbought. I'm sorry, oversold. And then so once it's oversold, you can look for a bounce to the upside. Okay, we'll wrap it up here with some of these new additions. Here comes the SHIB, SHIB USDT. And SHIB is just about flat for today. And we're looking at support to hold with 50810. And resistance now up there at the 50825 for SHIB USDT on to ICP USD. Internet computing. There's your support, 61.897, and resistance now at the 63.541. Moving on to AMP USD, massive candle here is one of the reasons I wanted to jump on here early. Got all the way up to 0.065. Is that an all-time high for AMP? No, up to 12. So some of these are breaking out as we speak here. So you're looking at support to hold at the 0.0583. As you see, we hit 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of support right there. So it looks like the technical traders jumped all over that once we broke above this moving average, and they are off to the running. So resistance, as you can see, got all the way up here. So there is the pivot from a previous high. We can see this by scrolling left. I think we should need to go, there it is, further back than there. Anyway, I won't go back there, but that was a previous price up in that range at the 0.0657. Let's see if we can do that. So these big candles usually will retrace back 50%, so halfway down if the paper hands don't fold it all the way out to the bottom again. And let's move on and wrap up here with CRO USD. If you're on crypto.com, that is the token for that particular exchange. Waiting for this chart to load. There it is. Come on. It's starting to break out as well. 0.1576 resistance and support at the 0.1529er. We'll wrap up here with Bitcoin dominance. This is BTC.D is the amount of crypto that is in BTC. It's sitting at 44.73%. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum down about 0.5%, so 18.25% of the market cap is in Ethereum. Cardano, ADA, increasing again as we move towards that smart contract. And it's at 4.02%, and Doge at 1.99. And total crypto market cap, we're back to 2 trillion and 26 billion. Folks, that does it for me. Before you take off, if you're out there on YouTube or Rumble, you can hit the like button. Or YouTubers, you hit subscribe, do all those things, share it around with your friends. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, on the Crypto Morning Show. Hey there. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I like that, y'all. I like that, y'all.